Alright, I'm back with another hopefully much quicker video than the researching video that I just did. This one is going to be on gathering. I've noticed that a lot of people do some really silly things when it comes to gathering. I don't know if it's because they don't know that they're doing something that's silly or because they just don't care. I started in this kingdom, well, 3-4 weeks late, at the very least. I'm right here in first place for gathering. I know there's a lot of people who are super duper lazy. I know that a lot of people don't gather because they have farms and because they don't really need to do it. If you don't want to gather, that's fine. If you do gather, if you want to know some tips and tricks, here's what I've gathered. Um, Pun intended. So, first things first, and that's just to go through your basics. Um, your gathering speed is really important. However, from everything that I've gathered, everything that I've come across and paid attention to, is each level tile has a different base gathering requirement. I don't know if I'm explaining that right. However, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send out different marches to different tiles to kind of explain this. So we'll start with food, and then we'll do, because around me I've got 8, 9s, 10s, and 11s. So I'll do a march to each one of them, um, and then we'll go based off of what the whole gathering percentage is and stuff like that. So to do this quickly, um, first thing while we're in here and doing this, I'll kind of explain some stuff. So as you can see, I have a bunch of mounted troops, low-tiered mounted troops. The reason why is because mounted troops are the fastest. You see here they have a speed star. It's super vague what this actually means. However, you can tell by looking at your different troops in the same tier. Like your paladin has a 2-star speed, but your ranged troop has a 1-star speed, which means your paladin is going to be much faster. And then the same thing with your berserker. So basically, it tells you already that one troop type is faster, and it makes sense because horses, right? That's fast. So I keep tier 3 troops for gathering. I made some additional tier 2 and tier 1 really quick just to kind of show you the differences. Um, Tier 1 is the fastest one of all. It has 5 stars. As you go up in tiers, you start to lose stars and speed, but that's typically because they're going to give them to you on attack, life, and defense. As you can tell, Tier 3 has 3 stars of everything. However, it doesn't, it's kind of a vague understanding. You don't really understand what 5 stars of speed is. Like, how fast is that? But when you have them selected in here, it'll tell you how long it's going to take you to get to that tile. This is going to take 33 seconds for a full troop or a full load of tier 1 mounted troops. Doesn't matter if you have one troop or not. So what happens is sometimes you'll get your siege troops. This is the reason why siege troops are really pain in the butt. It's because they're the slowest type of troops, and you only have your human tier 1, 2, and 3 troop and tier 4 troops. When you get one single troop in here, notice how this still says 33 seconds on the occupy time. If I put one tier 4 mounted troop in here, or tier 4 range troop in here, it jumps up to 1 minute and 29 seconds. So this is tripling the time that it takes to get to that tile. And so that brings me to my point. Higher tier troops should not be used for gathering. The only time you should use high tier troops is for troop load requirements. So if you're gathering from a level 12, chances are your troop load, your march size is not going to let you gather that full troop, that full resource tile. And every single kingdom I've been in is very picky when it comes to dirty tiles. And essentially what a dirty tile means, for anybody who doesn't understand that, is if you see this level 8 tile has 13,800,000 resources. A lot of times what happens is people will be like, oh, I'm going to send a march of troops in, and I'm only going to do, I'd say, that much. So if you look here at the bar, should be able to see that. This is saying virtually that the bar is full. You can't really see this little sliver that is going to visually indicate that you're going to gather all of them. However, if you look here at the numbers, it's stating that you're only going to get 13.7 million of the 13.8 million. So you're going to leave some of the resources on the tile. And the issue with that is if there's still resources on the tile, that tile is not going to indicate to the system that you need to respawn to refresh your tiles. This is super important with your higher level tiles, your level 12s, because, as I said earlier, the higher the level of the tile, the higher your base gathering is going to be. So essentially, if you're doing nothing, it is much more efficient to do higher level tiles because of this. And I'll go through and I'll send troops out here. So for this, I'm just going to do my preset. It's all going to be tier 3 troops, just to make sure that I have enough troops in here and I'm not leaving dirty tiles for this experiment. So as you can tell, my preset's going to do 86.5 million as long as my troop load doesn't change or my march size doesn't change. So base stats, as long as everything's going fine, I'm going to gather enough to fully clear a level 11 tile, which has 82.9 million. So I'm giving it a little bit extra just in case. So I'm going to just do, I'm going to fill up these 8, 9, 10, and 11 tiles. They're all going to be the same resource type to give you a good base on all of these. And then once these are in here, I'm going to jot down the numbers for how long it's going to take to actually gather. So this one right here is going to be the level 8. It's a 13 million. It's going to do 1 hour 35 minutes. This one right here for the 27, the level 9, is going to be 3 hours 26 minutes. This next one that came up is the level 10, which is going to be 3 hours. Wait, no. The 3 hour 26 is the level 10. The level 9 is going to be 2 hours 17. And then this level 11 is taking forever. So I'm just going to boost this up real quick. Should be about 3 hours 45 minutes. 4 hours 46 minutes. Because apparently I don't have my... Oops. My skills set, because I was training troops that don't have the right gathering skills. So what I'll do real quick is I'll convert all of these to minutes, so that way we have a good base understanding of all of that. So So here's what we're getting per minute. So Takes 286 minutes to get a level level 11 cleared. So if we just go through here and divide the resource in here divided by minutes, let's drag this down. You're gonna see that this one right here, the level 11, is this one. So let me just do this again. So same exact troop type in every single one, same exact gathering speed in every single one. You are going to have, what's that, 290,000 resources per minute if you go to a level 11. You're going to drop down to 201,000 for level 10, and the same for level 9. The level 8, however, drops all the way down to a level 145,000 per minute, which is a huge difference. So this right here just tells you exactly how inefficient lower level gathering is. And then I don't have any 12s. I doubt there's going to be any 12s available right now because I never, ever, ever get 12s. However, I will show you why gathering from the sand is not efficient unless you have the throne march speed. So let's say we're going to gather from this. This is the closest resource tile in the sand to me. I'm always going to be using my presets. This is going to take 5 minutes to get there. So that's 5 minutes there, 5 minutes back. So if I spend, let's just say, if I gather as close to me as possible, I'm not going to get more than a 5 or 6 minute march time. Because it's not going to be in the sand. So gathering here from this edge of the sand, like you can see there's some cities here, it's really close. However, as you're going further in, here's the same exact tile here. That's, I think I was at 84 kilometers, I'm at 101 kilometers now. So an extra 20 kilometers, right? I'm here with my preset. This takes 9 minutes. So this is doubling the time it takes to get to this tile just by going 20 kilometers. So that's going to put me at 18 minutes, just strictly travel time, not counting the same exact gathering speed that I'm going to get anywhere. And then as we keep going, let's go to this food tile just to show how long it's going to take to get there. See, and this is a dirty tile. This is what pisses people off because it shows you who was there, it shows how much is left. So coming here for 9 million resources with the same preset is going to take me 11 minutes. So I'm wasting, 25 minutes to clear this up, which is just, in that amount of time, if I was gathering a regular 11 in let's say 23 minutes, right? I'd get 6.6 million resources just because of the gathering time that I'm wasted. So it's going to take almost as long to travel there as there's resources in the tile. Like, that's just straight up a waste of time. And that's why people get frustrated. Also, if the system will not refresh tiles, at least in the desert, if you don't get below a certain threshold of tiles that are gone, and so if we don't clear any of these tiles, and we just leave dirty ones or full ones or whatever, then these tiles aren't going to respawn. So here's this one. Also, you can tell before you get in here, there's somebody traveling to this one, so I'm not going to go to this one. That's rude, obviously. This one here is going to take 16 minutes to get to it. Personally, I don't like to go, I don't like to do more than like a like a 5-6 minute march, because I think anything longer than that is just inefficient. You know, I might as well go try to find a different tile that's a little bit closer. And then this one's 36 minutes to get to this one. If I'm using my tier 5, it's 36 minutes. If I use my tier 3, it's 20 minutes. So that's adding in 15 minutes one way, to just because I'm using tier 5. So definitely make sure that you're using the lowest tier possible. And then sometimes what I'll see is that this is here on the other side of the map, directly across from me, or the other side of the sand. And then I'll see people who will come over here and travel literally all the way across the sand to get the list level 11. And then, like, look at this. This is a 23-minute march one way. So you're wasting almost an hour to do a tile that only takes, you know, usually I'm under 4 hours if I have the right talents. And so, you know, it's definitely important to get higher level tiles. However, it is much more important to cut down on travel time. And that's what the point of the video is that it doesn't matter really what... Actually, I haven't brought that up yet. So based off of what I've talked about so far, mounted troops are the best troops to use because they're the fastest. And then on top of that, you don't want to do these lower level ones. The only time you want to do a lower level one is very specific if you don't have the troops to fully gather a higher level one. If you don't have the troops to do a level 12, don't do a level 12. Just do level 11s because, you know, it could even out. You know, with the travel time that it needs to take to clear a level 12, you can probably clear a level 11 and get halfway through another one. One of these days, I would have really liked to get the actual numbers for how much resource you gain per minute on a level 12. Obviously, your numbers are going to be completely different than mine because of your gathering speed. Right now, I don't have my Lord skills set to gathering speed because I was in training mode. So I'm losing a lot of gathering speed. And the reason for that is when I'm here in gathering mode, you gain regular base gathering speed here, right? And then once you get your Lord level high enough, they have specific resources that will give you an extra like 150% per, you know, wood or whatever. That is a lot of extra gathering speed to be missing out on. So anytime you are gathering, you definitely want to don't mess up like I did, and you want to make sure your skills are set to gathering because that is a huge difference. Like on this level 11, I know for the level 11, at the very least, I cut off an hour if I have my Lord skill set correctly, and that's, you know, that's an hour. That's a huge percent of resources that I'm losing. And so, with my remaining marches, I want to show you the next thing. I think it's the last thing. I've heard, you know, throughout my time playing that different races give different boosts. I'm still not convinced on a lot of this extra stuff, but I know for sure on what I've been able to test myself, there is no difference between what race you use for gathering. As you can tell here, you're at 36 seconds to march right here with Savage, right? You add in Elven, boom, still 36%. Human, 36 seconds, sorry. So you can tell just by looking here, all of these are going to give you the same exact travel time. And then so I have already, I used Savaged earlier on my level 8s, I believe. So I use Savage. So I'm going to use Human, and I'm going to use Elven on these two as proof that, you know, it doesn't matter what type of troop you are using, they're going to give you the same time. So to recap, our level 8s are going to take 2 hours and 17 minutes to gather with savage troops. This one right here, it's going to take... Oh, I did that wrong. I need to recall these because I'm actually in my... I'm in my actual gathering skills. So that's not good. I gotta recall these. I've got to put on my training skill preset again. So that way we have the same base gathering speed. So let's try that again. And then also while we're doing this, the way that the game is done is they do a snapshot of stats once you enter the tile. So if you send out troops, and then you swap your skills or whatever, that is not going to help. They also have this really super duper annoying bug where if your turkey march buff falls off before you actually get into that tile, you lose all the stats for that. So here we are in here. It's going to take... I don't know why that's messing up. Oh, that's why. I was looking at the wrong one. So level 8s are right here. It's an hour 35 minutes. I was looking at the level 9 stats. So hour 35 minutes for level 8. And then an hour and 35 minutes here. So all three of these, you know, with your human, your savage, your elven, they're all giving exactly the same time together. So there's your proof. Hopefully nobody tries to tell you that there's a difference in what troop race that you're using to gather. Because there is no difference. I just proved it to you. It's giving you exactly the same stats. There is no difference in speed for race, and there is no difference in troop load per race. So choose whatever race you want to do. However, I would recommend that you probably try to pick your strongest stat race. You know, what has the best combat stats. So that way you don't have completely useless troops that are strictly for gathering. You know, because what happens if your bubble fails and you're attacked? Like, that's the reason why I don't build siege troops on any of my main accounts. The only time I have any siege troops on any of my accounts is for my my food positive accounts, which is really just my bank. That is the only time it has any sort of use for siege troops right now. They're absolutely garbage for combat stats because they're weak to every troop type. They're only strong against traps, and traps right now, with the way they have the game, traps are an insignificant part of a battle when you have, you know, 100 million troops and you only have 1 million traps, right? Just the ratio between troops and traps are way out of proportion to where you really don't gain any benefit. It actually hurts you to use siege troops in combat. And so hopefully, if you're watching this video and you have siege troops for whatever reason, hopefully you delete all of them because they're garbage. The only good benefit of it is if you are a really low level and you're specifically trying to stay a low level, and you don't care about how long it takes you to gather, because they are also the slowest troop to use. So just all around, they're really bad unless you are trying to stay food positive. And that's because they have the highest troop load to upkeep ratio in the game. And that's really the only thing they're good for. So I have one account my bank account that I have siege troops on, and that's just strictly so that way I can still gather from level 11s and maybe a level 12 while still staying food positive, and that's it. I don't know if there's anything else to add really, but basically I've shown you guys all that it does matter if you use if you're gathering from a specific level tile. And the only time you should drop down a level is if you can't gather from the full tile to prevent dirty tiles, or if there's nothing close to you because your travel time does add in to your gathering time, and so you don't want to travel 20 minutes for a level 11 if you can find one right next to you if it takes you 3 minutes, even if it's not the right resource type. So personally, for me, I'm in K66. If you guys are overloaded in one troop type or one resource type, I do filter for people. I just charge if it's the basic stuff. I just charge taxes for transports. So if you have wood, stone, or wood or stone or iron, I'll do like a base, like I think 5% charge on that, but I'll trade for you. So if you have 20 billion wood, I'll trade you for 20 billion stone. Probably not in that size, but like if it's a little bit lower, like if you're trying to trade 1 billion for 1 billion, I'll do that. So if you're in K66 or if you're in a different kingdom, check to see if somebody's willing to trade for that. Usually you can probably find somebody nice enough to do for just what it costs for the taxes on the transport. And then, because that way they're not losing, you're gaining a resource that you need, and then they're gaining a little bit for that taxes. But that's about it. This video, like my research video, lasted a long time. But this is super important things that hopefully everybody at least understands a little bit. So if any of this is confusing, let me know. I'll try to address any areas that need clarification in a future video. But outside of that, as usual, feel free to leave comments, suggestions. I do have a couple other videos that I want to do, probably not this week, maybe next week. I do want to touch on mana stones because that was a request. Outside of that, I don't think there's a whole lot of topics. So if you find something that you want explained, let me know, and I'll do my best to make sure I have accurate information for everybody. And then so next one up is probably going to be mana stones for your sanctuary, and how to do it, and everything else like that. So that's it. Have a good day.